All right, let's talk about Dinner for Schmucks. I got to watch this movie again. It's, both of these movies I'm going to be talking about are free on YouTube right now. Go check them out so you can enjoy them too. Dinner for Schmucks, I saw this one again. This is a 2010 movie. And of course, if you don't know this, I don't have to tell you because, I mean, I understand that this was kind of panned. Let me pop down here to the reception. Rotten Tomatoes holds a 42% based on 191 reviews, average rating of 5.4 out of 10. Not necessarily critically acclaimed, but I think it's brilliant. I think it's a hilarious movie. Maybe it's because I'm not a kind of guy who goes to Sundance every year. Maybe I'm not the kind of guy who's interested in foreign films. I don't speak 6 languages and like want to discuss European cinema, the nuances of European cinema. All right. Because in many ways, this movie is European cinema. And so maybe I haven't seen Les Dîners de Cons, a French film, the 1988 French film that this is based upon. All right, stars Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, Jermaine Clement, Jeff Dunham, Bruce Greenwood, Ron Livingston. How did Jeff Dunham get bigger billing than Ron Livingston? Because Ron's...
How did Jermaine get bigger billing than...
Well, I understand why, because Jermaine Clement was excellent in that role. And I also think that Ron Livingston was excellent as a D-bag in that role. He played a really good D-bag. Usually he plays, somebody who's kind of relatable, but wow, she's not a hooker. She didn't offer you money. She's not a hooker. If she didn't ask for money, she did ask for money. So, like, in the movie's filled with jabs like that. Little short, quippy, hilarious dialogue. The scene where Paul Rudd meets Steve Carell's character, where he hits him with his Porsche, right? And the first thing he does, he pops up, is like, wow, is that a Porsche? Wow, I've been hit with a Datsun before, but not a Porsche. He was like, take a picture of it. He was like, I got hit by a Porsche. He was like real excited to get hit by a Porsche. And then they have that conversation where he's like, I would hope not to get insurance involved. And Paul Rudd's like, all right, what'll it take? And Steve Carell's like, $5. And Paul Rudd's like, seriously, what's it going to take? $10. Come on, seriously, what's it going to take, Paul Rudd? And Steve Carell's like, all right, how much do you want? What's it going to take? How much do you want? $100. So he starts offering Paul Rudd money, and he's like, I don't want $100. $1,000. No, I don't want your money. Fine, $10,000. Paul Rudd just gives it, fine, I'll take $10,000. He goes, oh, I don't have $10,000, And it's full of hilarious interactions of people like that, if you haven't seen this movie. And it's like, first of all, the character that Steve Carell plays is like, how does a person live this long on Earth? That's the question you got to ask yourself, because his character is just so over the top.
Are you going to spoil the movie?
I'm not going to spoil Dinner for Schmucks. You need to...
You know why that guy survived.
I know why he survives. All right, fine. But I guess I'm not going to spoil the movie. I'm going to talk about something, about what it's really about. It's Dinner for Schmucks. It's these rich jerks who live in, their, their not studio apartments, their penthouse apartments. And they play these games where they collect weird or eccentric people and show them to each other so they can make fun of them. There's plenty of movies like that. It's like, Dangerous Liaisons, and pretty much, as Dennis would say, it's pretty much any movie in the early 90s or something.
Pretty much any movie.
And there's a conversation that Steve Carell has with Paul Rudd, where Paul Rudd tells him, "Is like they brought you all here to make fun of you," and it's like, and Steve Carell looks at him like, why would they bring a bunch of really cool and interesting people together and make fun of them? That doesn't make any sense. And Steve Carell's hobby is this dressing up dead mice in little scenes and stuff like that. It's an incredibly creative and weird, hobby. And when you get this display that he of all this stuff that he made, and it's really kind of cool in a very nerdy and interesting way. It makes him a unique person, a unique character. And I think that's kind of the point of this movie, is that it's better to be a unique character. It's better to be a blind sword fighter, than just being typecast, you know, or something like that, you know, or just more like, instead of just following the crowd. Because when Paul Rudd's, you know, offered this proposition over this dinner for schmucks, you know, he says that's messed up. That's how he reacts to it. It's like, yeah, we make fun of these people, and it's like, that's messed up. And they're like, yeah, it is messed up. And he's like, okay. So he ends up agreeing to this, and this causes all sorts of problems with him and his girlfriend because it is messed up. But at the same time, he's learning a lot about this guy, Steve Carell. He's got the sad story about his life and so forth. And it's endearing, you know. And at the end of the day, it's like, you know, people are weird. And the most interesting people you're going to meet in this world, in this entire world, are people who don't follow the pack. Do you understand what I'm getting at? I watch Gavin McInnes because he was the kind of guy who didn't follow the pack when I was a kid. He's 7 years older than me. He was the kind of kid I looked up to. I was too young for the punk movement. There's no way my mom would have let me go to those concerts. Plus, I was figure skating at the time because my mom wouldn't let me play hockey. So, I mean, it's people who don't fit the mold tend to be higher quality people. You know, even if they stink of formaldehyde and brute, even if they like get things confused. Oh, I thought the dinner's tomorrow. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's tonight. No, I made the plans. I told you when it was. It's tomorrow. Like, agree to disagree, you know? And the whole thing with him, and like, he gets on his friend, Paul Rudd goes in the back to get the back brace, and he goes, like, there's like chat popping up on the guy's computer, and he just sits down, starts chatting with some stranger as him. It's like, who does that? And that creates all sorts of interest. Well, I think it kind of creates a good situation for Steve Carell's character, because he got to meet Lucy Punch, and she is hot and hilarious in that movie. And Jermaine Clement, his character, he just really sunk his teeth into the ego of that what was his name? Kieran. Yeah, Kieran character. I love that line with Paul Rudd when he comes into the gallery at his show, and he's like, "Wow, they're so big, and you're in all of them." And he really sinks his teeth into that parting line with Jermaine Clement, where Steve Carell accidentally caters to Kieran's ego, and he's like, he's right, Julie. This love of ours, it'll burn the universe. But she lost her job anyway. I'm not trying to spoil it. It's an excellent movie. I think you should watch it. EK is laughing and smiling. He knows it's a really good movie. So I give it 10 of 13 stars. What would you give it?
I mean,
you think you trust my rating system? Okay.
I think 10 of 13 is pretty good.
10 of 13 is pretty good. All right, Dinner for Schmucks. Highly recommended. Mind is a terrible thing. To waste. To waste what? To waste what? Well, it's the first joke of that is like, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not. The only one. The only one what? Huh? I don't the idea of screwing up a colloquialism has always been funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's always been funny.